McNeil, what is best in life?
To troll your commenters, to see them triggered before you, and to hear the lamentation of the moderators. Hey folks, McNeil here. As you recall, just a few weeks ago, we hit 300 subscribers, so I released a quick video asking for a few questions that I could answer here on the channel for you. You know, anything, bits and bobs all over the place. So I'm going to be answering some of those questions today, and hopefully we're going to have some good ones. This doesn't bode well.
How far ahead have you planned Black Book, and how long do you expect it to be? Does it have a complete outline? And if so, how much time did it take you to write it? Basically, I'm curious about the writing process.
All of Black Book is completely written and ready to record. I have about 16 installments planned, and it took me approximately, I want to say... It's kind of weird when I'm writing, because it's kind of a nebulous process for me. I stop and start all over the place. If you were to condense all that time down into, say, 8-hour workdays, let's go 4-hour workdays. 4-hour workdays, because that's more along the lines of how sporadic I am. Probably along the lines, I want to say, of about 5 weeks to write. So that's a total hour, and that's a... I'm not going to calculate that. My brain's not smart enough. But it is completely written. It doesn't even have an outline. Every single script is completely done. I was quirk where I don't like moving forward with a project until I have a complete script in front of me. Certain things, even like Over the Seas, completed scripts, completed seasons, before we even began work on it. So that was always a big thing for me. So yes, Black Book completely written, ready to record. We're trying to get them out on a monthly basis, and hopefully we can stick to that. But you know, things happen.
What are your thoughts on Dark Souls 2? Do you think it deserves the hate?
I have never played Dark Souls 2, and I would defer to Fatman's opinion in that circumstance. I can't say anything for or against it, really. I have friends that have played it and said it wasn't as good. I've just never had the interest in it. It's weird enough, but the story never gripped me. In fact, Dark Souls 3 doesn't really grip me all as much as Dark Souls 1 ever did. So, Dark Souls 1, still at the top of the list. Dark Souls 3 is pretty damn good. Bloodborne, I played and watched a Let's Play of it, was okay. Dark Souls 2, I know almost nothing about.
Thoughts on Ruby Volume 4 so far?
Well, considering I'm recording this long after Volume 4 has concluded, and not to mention FatmanFalling is actually editing together a compilation of my personal reactions that I can put up on my channel during our retrospective, our reaction series to the volume. You'll be getting my opinion on Volume 4 very, very soon. But if you want my kind of overarching opinion, my kind of base thoughts on it, it was a waste of time. It had some great moments in it, some great character moments with Yang, with Ren, with Nora, with Weiss. But overall, plot-wise especially, waste of time. Absolute waste of time.
Favorite movie? Favorite book series?
Well, shit, I'm actually have to hold up my little script here because this is a long list of things. Because my favorite movie of all time, personally, is Unbreakable, directed by M. Night Shyamalan. And you might be like, M. Night Shyamalan? Isn't that hack director? In recent years, he's become kind of a joke, and that's a shame. I think the man has a bucket load of talent. It's just, he kind of got Lucased, where I don't think people wanted to reel him in. And I think that's where like movies like Split and The Visit are actually starting to gain him more notoriety. I think people on the creative team have started learning how to really limit him, as opposed to him being limited himself, then being kind of let go to do whatever he wants. And but Unbreakable is my personal favorite film of all time. I absolutely adore it. I also adore Inception. That's another great one. Among the, you know, what feels like millions of series that I've read, the one that's always closest and dearest to my heart is the Halo novel franchise. Even though I've not kept up on it, Not to mention anything by Eric Nyland, although I've not really read anything beyond his Halo works. Eric Nyland just has a way with words. I adore his writing style. That wasn't me. But if you want more than just the series and more specific novels, Halo First Strike is absolutely fantastic. It actually takes place after Halo 1. But not in the Halo franchise. I'm very partial to Isaac Asimov's Nemesis, simply because it was the last recommendation of my favorite teacher before he passed away. So yeah, it's not necessarily the best novel of Isaac's work, of Asimov's work, but it's just the closest to my heart, and I can't betray that recommendation. So it's a fairly slow novel, though. Just keep that in mind if you ever go check it out. H.P. Lovecraft's The Mountains of Madness are among another personal favorite of mine. And if anyone's interested in Lovecraft but don't want to be bogged down by the rather intricate and detailed writing style he has, because God, that is one hell of a hurdle. In fact, it's one that I struggle with myself trying to read any of his work. A great help for that is the graphic novel series made out of his stories. I highly recommend it. It definitely makes it all that much easier.
Did Homura do nothing wrong?
Homura did everything wrong, but we shouldn't blame her for it. Kyubey is always at fault.
Have you ever watched Neon Genesis Evangelion? If so, what is your opinion of it?
I have seen the 2 dubbed rebuilds of Evangelion, but I've never actually watched the show proper, nor have I seen the 3rd rebuild, and I'm still eagerly awaiting that to be translated to English, and the same, I'm waiting for the 4th, and then that one to be translated to English. I like what I've seen so far, but I know the rebuilds are significantly different in tone and style than the original, even though there is still some airiness. I know the animation is, of course, far superior because it's a film. It has the upped animation budget. But from what I've seen, it's not that bad. I like it. As a Christian who, someone who was formerly a Christian, or at least still has some remnants of his Christian faith, the symbology kind of confuses me left and right, especially since I've studied some Christian symbology. But, I know that's just there because it's kind of foreign to Asians. The same way that we use Asian characters, like, for tattoos and shit. So I just find that as an interesting anecdote. It's kind of cool that we, as Westerners, do actually have something that appeals to Easterners in the same way that Easterners have things that appeal to us. And that kind of foreign delicacy type idea.
But in all seriousness, I am kind of curious what projects you've been involved in aside from your channel and some of FMF's stuff. You're genuinely entertaining, and I'd like to know what else you've done regardless of media form to give credit where credit is due, or alternatively, give critical feedback if warranted.
Well, this is going to require the list again. I have, in no particular order, the fanfiction I write, the Phoenix Wright dub that I perform in as Phoenix Wright, the Digimon Abridged where I am Gabumon and an assortment of different characters. I also do the Gamera Abridged since the 2nd one, and I'm probably going to be in the 3rd one. Hopefully. I never know. But I helped co-write that and act in it, so that's always fun. There is Toil and Trouble, which is a magical anthropomorphic animal magic series about being at a magical school. And I hear it gets risque later on. It's only released 1 audio drama, and you can only get that through Patreon, I think. I'll leave a link down in the description below so you can find all of these, of course. I'm in the dub of the fanfiction Forlorn, which is a pretty well-written Bumblebee fanfiction. In fact, actually it's pretty damn good written, because the entire premise behind it is, how does one go from being best friends to being lovers when you only felt like a friend to one? So I actually play Ozpin in that. I haven't shown up yet, but I have almost all my lines recorded for it. I don't show up to like chapters 8 or 9, and I think only chapter 1 has been successfully aired. I think no, chapter 2 has been successfully aired, I believe. But link will be in the description below. There's the Mystery Skulls gang that I'm apparently a part of, but I've not heard anything out of that. I'll leave a link to that. That one, you can check it out there. There's actually a Star Fox comic that I'm also writing with my good friend Vincent, who, it's a slow-going project. We both have day jobs, and I'm doing this, he's doing other things. So we're trying to get it off the ground, but I will be the lead writer, and he is the kind of conceptualist, he's the artist. We have we have a colorist, we have all this stuff going for it. So expect that maybe in the next year or two.
Will you ever watch Chronexia and the 8 Seals and do a video with the gang reacting to it?
Was this a thing that I was supposed to be watching? Because I've never even heard of this show before. I guess I could add it to my incredibly long list of things to watch. Question, does it have Yuri in it? Because if it has Yuri in it, it gets pumped up in priority.
Was there any particular event in your life that made you decide that telling stories was the thing for you?
Well, was there an event that made me decide? In particular, about what made me decide to be in this kind of business, to do what I do. I would have to say the biggest influence on me was probably, oddly enough, Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, and even now I can't remember all that much about it. But I remember very keenly about it that it was back when I was really young. I would say 3rd grade? I'll have to double check on that. I think it was 3rd grade. But when I saw it, I remember being so blown away by the stunts in there, and I didn't realize there were stunts. I had been like influenced by like Dragon Ball Z and shit. So I actually believed that people could fucking fly. Like there are characters that were like jumping long distances that are basically practically fucking flying. And because of Dragon Ball Z, especially Gohan training Videl how to fly and focusing her ki, all that stuff, I legitimately thought people could like just learn how to fly as a kid. In fact, I still hope that one day we'll be able to do that, but that's neither here nor there. You're also talking to the guy that thought Digimon were real for quite some significant period of time. But no, that was a key inspiration. But what really kind of kickstarted my firmness in this area is the fact that when I was talking about with my friends and said I wanted to be a movie star in order to do those kinds of things, and they were telling me, of course, people can't fly, people can't fly, people can't fly. They said that I could never be a main character. They said that I could never be a hero up on the big screen, that I could never be that. And this is, I think, where a lot of people and I diverge. Where people will be like, oh no, stop bullying this guy, stop saying he can't do that, he can be whatever he wants. I didn't want anyone to do that for me. I didn't want anyone to come in and say that. Instead, someone said that to me. Someone said, you can't be blank. And I'm like, well, I was a kid, so I didn't use a strong language, but this is what I'm like now. Fuck you, don't tell me what to do. Don't tell me what I can and cannot be. I will be what I want to be. And so I set out and decided I want to be one of these great actors. I want to be one of these cool characters on the screen, but how do I do that? And this is over a period of years, this kind of gestated. How does that work? Well, I need to be in someone's story. Well, there needs to be a character that fits who I am physically. So I need to direct this film so I can cast myself in these roles. So I can make sure that I'm cast in the right role. And then from there I'd be like, well, I have to have the role written, so I have to now write the role. So I have to be the writer and director and the actor, and you can kind of see where I'm going as a kid. Until eventually I sat down and I started writing, and I found I really enjoyed it. It was hard, it was difficult. My first writing was a Kingdom Hearts fanfiction that I thought I could actually turn into a novel. I was a naive kid. I'm still pretty naive, all things considered. Or innocent, I suppose. I try to have the most optimistic outlook on things. But, yeah, so you got all that factoring into making me want to succeed more. And I started realizing that I had a penchant for noticing story beats and character beats. I just had an innate understanding of how certain aspects of storytelling worked. It just appealed to me. Not only just appealed to me, but it spoke to me. I don't want to sound like I'm some kind of guru, although I am. I totally am a guru on writing things. But I started finding, people who didn't quite understand how stories work being put in place of making these stories, and being punished as a consequence. And of course, I've floundered all throughout my career writing, but I found that I had a gift. So basically, it all stems back to me being spiteful that someone told me I couldn't do something. And then I followed that something into a chain of logic that led me to writing. And now this writing is leading me back towards directing and acting. So, long story short, don't tell me what I cannot fucking do. Because I will fucking do it, and I will do it well.
What is the best written story you've ever seen in any medium, and what separates it from other stories?
I have a little list again. Sorry, list everywhere. But this is a hard question to answer. Almost impossible. I can relate back to Unbreakable and how I feel like it's one of those films where I can keep coming back to it and see something new every single time. Some kind of new, finer nuance or tweak that was put into the film. But I do recognize it's not a perfect film. It's just my favorite. Inception, where it's so incredibly tightly told. But then on the flip side, you have Madoka Magica, which I still hold today. The main 12 series is the tightest told series on the planet. It is one of the most well concluded series ever devised. Or Steins Gate, which it just absolutely fantastic with the way it does time travel and actually makes every single trope work for it. Again, none of these shows are perfect. None of these shows ever can be perfect. But the best, they all rival each other for different reasons. Unbreakable, I think, just you have Unbreakable with this great emotional dissection of the nature of superheroism, long before Birdman ever came out. And Birdman's more about show business than it is about heroism. Again, I should reiterate, I've never seen Birdman. I only have Fatman's review to go off of, and Wikipedia. Inception, which is just very tightly written and really knows how to play with its own mechanics. Madoka Magica, which just a damn fantastically tightly told story. And I probably hold it as, it's probably going to take the top spot here. Steins Gate just has everything to it. But particularly the time travel aspect that really appeals to me, told in such a complicated but ultimately functional way, which is almost unheard of in the genre. In fact, it might just be unheard of in the genre. And then there's written-wise, actual written-wise, World War Z, which is probably the best zombie novel ever written, hands down. But it's impossible for me. I cannot nail down one best story ever. I cannot. So those are my recommendations. Take them as you will.
When starting a story, what kinds of things get your creative juices flowing? Do you have any particular creators who serve as your inspiration?
Getting into a beat, getting into a trance using music, visuals, especially very good writing. Now when I'm editing for things like reviews and Let's Plays, I often look to Markiplier, Game Grumps, Fatman even. I watch their videos and I usually get my ideas churning with how I can do editing, how I can do that kind of work. And when it comes to writing itself, I was actually planning on some point doing a highlight of some of my favorite authors on fanfiction.net because I think they're absolutely ludicrously good. Better than most of the novels I've ever read, believe it or not. Especially like Faders. God, that was a fucking terrible novel. But basically, other people's good work inspires me to do better. For me, it's always a constant push to challenge myself to be better than someone else. And even if I don't succeed, that push makes me a better quality creator than anything else. And basically, that's how I get my creative juices kick-started, and how I keep them going is through some kind of good music. I suggest any type of soundtrack music. Like, Halo was great to listen to. Noir, I've been listening to a lot. Final Fantasy 15 has some fantastic tracks to it. Puella Magic Madoka Magica, especially when I've been writing my Madoka Magica fan fiction. Fantastic music to listen to when you're trying to get into a headspace, a particular headspace. Make sure the music matches the tone of what you're writing, but make sure it's also energetic enough that it keeps you on your toes as you're working. That's kind of my mentality on it.
Inokoro hinoshin doramones requiem. Inokoro inapai inotoro ishadin.
Hey, so I have this line from the Ruby review that I'm, what the hell are you doing?
Can't you tell? I'm cursing one of my commenters for the stupid comment they left.
Oh, what? Come on, a commenter can't be that bad.
You don't understand, Fat Man. It was this comment.
Do you have enough cow's blood?
Sorry to be that guy, but what's the current status of Ruby Over the Seas, and when, roundabouts, can we expect a trailer, preview, sneak peek, anything of this nature, if at all? This year? Next year? 10 years from now?
Well, sorry, Zeroho. I both your questions are going to be kind of open-ended here. And we'll get to your second one in just a second. Over to the Seas, we're currently going through a type of transition, and I can't really elaborate on that because we're going to hopefully have an announcement video up soon. I can't say how soon. It might be about a month or so before you hear anything, maybe a little more, maybe a little bit less. But there's a lot going on under the surface. I can't say anything now, but there's big changes coming to the project. Some things that people aren't going to like, some things that I think people might like. I'm excited for it, also incredibly nervous because I know a lot of people are expecting Over the Seas, and what we're doing is going to make or break a lot of the people's expectations. So, stay tuned and stay positive. That's all I can say.
And if you have time to get to this question, how would you rewrite Ruby if you were given the helm from Season 1, Volume 1 to now? Unless this is already a topic of a video you were planning to do, in which case ignore this question.
Now this is the question I can answer a little more directly. I am actually planning on doing a video of that. That one hopefully should be up more soon than anything else, of how I would have done Ruby Volume 1, and I will hopefully turn that into a series of how I would do each individual volume going forward. So keep an eye out for that, and I hope you enjoy what I come up with.
How did you meet / get to know Fatman? As in, did you meet him on the internet? Have you known him for a while, etc.? I'm pretty sure it was answered in one of your previous videos, but I probably haven't seen it, sad face.
This actually relates back to Ruby Over the Seas. I contacted him in order... I watched his video on Ruby after being kind of jaded with Volume 1. I was just kind of like, it wasn't all that. I mean, it wasn't fantastic. It was good, but it wasn't fantastic. And then I saw his video, and I'm like, holy shit, wow, this guy covers everything that I had complained with, and more than I didn't even realize. And so I thought a man with that kind of critical analysis to his repertoire could be fantastic, absolutely fantastic as an editor. So when Marcus and I started developing Over the Seas, I think back in 2013, might have been 2014. Yeah, I think it was 2014 that we started developing Over the Seas. I suggested, hey, there's this Factman guy, and we both agree that his critiques are pretty accurate. So let's bring him into the fold and make him our editor, because I think having that kind of, analytical mind would be fantastic to keep us sharp as writers. So I brought him on then, and after that it was a slow process of badgering him until he became my friend. And I think the first major thing we really did together was our a Let's Play of Dark Souls 1, which you can see on his Let's Play channel. Yeah, no, now we're just pretty damn good friends. You know, people say I grow on them like a fungus, like a Louisiana fungus. Well, that's all the questions that you guys submitted to me, and I hope that you were satisfied with the answers. I know I kind of rambled a bit in some of these, and I might have sounded pompous or offensive, and I don't intend to. I just naturally do. But I'm a very aggressive person, just naturally aggressive. So I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope these answers satisfied your curiosity, and I hope you guys stick around for the future content coming to the channel. We've hit 300 subscribers. We're at 335 right about the time I'm recording this, and we're still growing. We're still growing, and we're still moving forward. And I am more than excited to see where the rest of this train goes. So thank you all for watching, and catch you on the flip side.